Ecclesiastes 5 verse 9. Moreover, the profit of the earth is for all. The king himself is served by the field. I received this cottage cheese recipe from a family friend of ours. I was so excited because for years I had wanted to make the cottage cheese that our Grandma Biegel had made when Dad was a boy. I'm not certain that this is exactly how Grandma made it, but Dad loves it and says it tastes just like it. It requires no store-bought cultures, no vinegar, no buttermilk, and no rennet. Just raw milk. And a little bit of time. The secret to making this cottage cheese lies in the culture that you will make yourself. The culture is called clabber. To make your clabber, simply take a cup or two of fresh milk, cover it loosely with a lid or cloth and leave it on the counter for about 2 days, or until it becomes thick and jiggly. This first batch might not taste the best, but on the second or third batch it should be nice and sweet. Mind you, you need to use fresh, raw milk for this. Store-bought milk I do not think will work. For the second batch of your clabber, simply take a few tablespoons of your already clabbered clabber and put it in a new, clean jar, fill it with fresh milk, and leave on the counter again for 12 to 24 hours. Maybe a bit more, especially if your house is more on the cooler side. On your second or third batch of clabber, you are ready to make your cottage cheese. You can use whole or skimmed milk. So far, we've only made cottage cheese with our cow milk, but I'm sure you could probably use goat milk. We generally use skimmed cow milk because we make butter with the cream, which you can check out that video up in the corner. You could use whole milk and make butter with the cultured cream that will rise to the top. Cultured cream is really good and has a very full flavor. Or you could skim off your cultured cream and use it as sour cream, or you could just make full-fat cottage cheese. You get to choose. Moving on, put your clabber culture in a pot big enough to hold your amount of milk, pour in your milk and whisk together very well. After a good mixing, pour some of the milk into a clean jar and clabber this alongside your pot to save as your next culture. Cover your jar and your pot and set in a warm place to form a curd. Again, this culturing time depends on the warmth of your home and also the temperature of your milk. If your milk is cold, it could take 15 to 24 hours to get a good solid curd, but if your milk is warm, it might take 8 to 12 hours. So here, it's been about 8 hours, and our culture for next time's use has already clabbered, so I'm going to put it in the fridge for next time. Alright, so as you can see, our milk has formed a good solid curd. Perfect! At this point, you could also take your culture out of your pot, but I don't because too often I forget to. Put your pot on medium to high heat and with a long spoon break up your curds, stirring gently and continuously to ensure that the curds are heated equally. As the clabber heats up, you will see how the curds separate from the whey. You want your curds and whey to reach about 120 Fahrenheit. Generally, this takes around 10 minutes, but again, it depends on how high you have your heat. Once the curds have reached around 120 Fahrenheit, turn off the heat. I like to let my curds settle a bit on the bottom so I can pour off the top whey. Then, simply begin to scoop the curds into a sieve or colander to drain. Make sure you stir your cottage cheese while it drains to keep it from matting together. We like to use the whey for soaking our legumes, nuts, and seeds, but when we have too much of it, we just give it to the goats, who devour it with gusto. And there you have your beautiful homemade cottage cheese We like to eat our cottage cheese with some milk, a bit of good salt like pink Himalayan salt, and freshly cracked black pepper. But of course, there are many recipes that you can use this delightful cheese in. If you enjoyed this video, please leave us a comment and also check out our other step-by-step videos on traditional food preparation. We have videos on making traditional cheddar cheese, blue cheese, Belle Pernod cheese, and our version of halloumi cheese. We also have detailed videos on how to make sourdough bread, fresh butter, bone broth, homemade sausages, fermented sauerkraut, just like Heinz ketchup with fresh garden tomatoes, and many more videos that you can check out on our YouTube channel. Until next time, keep calm and clabber on.